Have you ever wondered why some men just get women while others are stuck guessing? The difference isn't money, looks, or luck. It's psychology. When you understand the female mind, you stop feeling lost and start connecting on a whole new level. Today, I'm going to reveal 10 powerful female psychology secrets that every man should know. By the end, you'll see women and relationships in a completely different way. Imagine for a moment you're standing in a crowded cafe. You see a woman sitting alone, scrolling on her phone, sipping her coffee. Most men would think the way to impress her is a clever line, a joke, or a flashy gesture. But what truly reaches her isn't the surface level, it's the emotional experience you create in that moment. Women don't just remember what you said, they remember how you made them feel. Emotions are the gateway. When you speak, when you listen, when you simply look at her with genuine interest, you're opening a door inside her mind that logic can't touch. Think about the people you remember most in your life. Are they the ones who listed facts and figures, or the ones who made you feel seen and alive? That's the same principle at work. When a woman feels you understand her world, her struggles, her joys, she feels a magnetic pull towards you. It's not about manipulation, it's about resonance. It's about creating a moment where she feels safe enough to drop her guard and let you in. There's a story of a man who never spent a lot on dates, yet women adored his company. Why? Because he listened as if every word mattered. He laughed at the right times. He remembered details. He mirrored her emotions with warmth. He was building an emotional bridge without even realizing it. Contrast that with the man who shows up in an expensive car but checks his phone every 2 minutes. One is creating emotional presence, the other is draining it. The secret is subtlety. It's in noticing the small things when she's quiet, when her eyes light up. When she's nervous, you acknowledge it without making her feel judged. You build a micro world between the two of you where her emotions are respected. That's why, even in everyday life, small gestures matter more than big shows. A soft touch on the shoulder when she's stressed, remembering her favorite tea, sending a simple message saying, thinking of you, in a genuine way. These tiny moments become huge emotional anchors. This isn't just about dating, it's about human connection. Colleagues, friends, even family members are drawn to the person who can read the emotional temperature of the room and act with empathy. People who master this don't walk into a space and demand attention. They draw it effortlessly because others feel good around them. When you walk into her world, don't just bring words, bring an experience. Make her feel the rush of excitement, the calm of safety, the joy of being noticed. Let your actions whisper what your words don't. When you do that, you're no longer just another man trying to impress her. You become the man who understands her, and understanding creates a bond stronger than any surface attraction ever could. Picture this: you're sitting across from someone at dinner, trying to share something that matters to you, but their eyes keep flicking to their phone, the waiter, the TV on the wall. How does that make you feel? Invisible, unimportant, like your words are just background noise. Now imagine the opposite. Someone leans in slightly, their eyes fixed on yours, phone face down, body angled toward you. Suddenly your words feel heavier, your story feels worth telling, and you feel like you matter. That's the power of attention. For women, attention equals validation. It tells her without a single word that she's significant, that her presence is worth your energy. Think of attention as a kind of currency, more valuable than money because it can't be faked. You either give it fully or you don't. When you give your attention fully, you're investing in someone's emotional bank account. This is why women remember the small things, the way you listened to her talk about her childhood pet, the way you noticed her new hairstyle, the way you caught the slight tremor in her voice when she was upset. Those moments are like emotional gold. There's a man I know who never had much to show off materially, but he could make anyone feel like the only person in the room. At work, in friendships, and especially in dating, he would pause, breathe, and truly listen. He didn't just nod and say aha. He reflected, asked questions, remembered details later. Women felt valued, not just heard. This is what separates average interactions from extraordinary connections. Attention isn't just about eye contact, it's about emotional presence. When she's speaking, are you actually hearing her words or just waiting for your turn to talk? When she's excited about something, Do you lean in and match her energy, or do you dismiss it because it's not important to you? People feel your presence or your absence instantly, and women in particular are attuned to these micro signals. Think about your own life. Who are the people you gravitate towards? The ones who make you feel invisible, or the ones who make you feel like you matter? The same applies here. When you make a woman feel she's worth your full attention, you're speaking a universal language of respect and admiration. Daily life is full of tiny opportunities to practice this. Put your phone down when she's talking. Remember something she told you last week and bring it up. When she's excited, celebrate with her. When she's quiet, notice and gently ask why. These are not grand gestures, they're moments of presence that accumulate like drops of water filling a glass. Over time, they create an ocean of trust and validation, so strong it becomes unshakable. When you understand this, your whole energy changes. You stop scrambling to impress and start focusing on making her feel significant. Your words become more deliberate, your gestures more meaningful, and she feels the difference without you having to explain a thing. Imagine a woman sitting late at night after a long day, her mind running through worries, her heart quietly asking one question: am I safe with him? Most men think security means a bigger paycheck or a flashier lifestyle, but emotional security reaches places money never touches. It's about showing her through your actions that she can count on you, that her heart and her trust are safe. When a woman feels that level of consistency and emotional steadiness, it's like oxygen to her soul. She can relax, open up, dream bigger, and believe in something lasting. Think of the moments in your own life when someone was truly there for you. Not when they bought you something, but when they showed up when you needed them most. Listened without distraction, stood by you when everyone else disappeared. That's the kind of security women crave. She's not testing your bank account, she's testing your reliability. Will you show up on time? Will you keep your word? Will you be the same person on a bad day as you are on a good one? There's a story about a man who lost his job, but not his dignity. Instead of hiding or blaming, he sat with his partner, told her the truth, and said, "We'll get through this together." She stayed not because of the money, but because of the honesty. That moment of vulnerability built a fortress stronger than any salary. Emotional security is built on these small bricks of truth, respect and consistency. Picture another scene. A woman tells her partner she's upset about something small. Instead of mocking her or brushing it off, he looks her in the eyes and says, "I can see you're hurt. Tell me more." In that instant, she feels safe enough to share her deeper fears. That's what emotional security does. It opens doors inside her heart you could never force open with gifts or promises. Daily life gives endless chances to build this kind of safety. Answering texts when you say you will, keeping promises even if they're small, speaking kindly even when frustrated, being the calm in a storm rather than the cause of it. These habits build trust so thick it becomes like a second skin around your relationship. Security is more than a roof over her head or a car in the driveway. It's the silent promise you deliver every day that says, "I've got you," without needing to say it out loud. It's the consistency of your character, the calm of your presence, the strength of your patience. When a woman feels this from you, her whole nervous system relaxes. She starts dreaming bigger, loving deeper, and showing more of her true self, because she knows she's not standing on shaky ground, but on something solid and real. Imagine you're walking with someone and they don't say a word, yet you can feel their mood. You sense tension in their jaw, their eyes darting away, their posture stiff. Without speaking a single sentence, they've told you everything about how they're feeling. This is the silent language of micro behaviors, and women are masters at reading it. She's not just listening to what you say, she's picking up the tilt of your head, the pace of your breath, the pauses between your words. When you realize this, you begin to understand that the smallest details in your behavior speak louder than entire speeches. Think about the last time you felt truly safe with someone. Was it because they made a grand declaration, or because their eyes stayed soft when you were vulnerable, their tone stayed steady when you were emotional, their hands stayed gentle when you were scared? These micro behaviors are like tiny signals sent directly to the nervous system. They bypass logic and go straight to trust or distrust. There's a man who walks into a room and doesn't dominate it, yet everyone feels his presence. He makes eye contact. His handshake is firm but not crushing. He listens before he speaks. And when he smiles, it's real. Women feel these signals and their subconscious registers. This man is steady, he's safe, he's grounded. Contrast that with a man who talks big but his eyes are shifty, his body restless, his tone unpredictable. No matter what he says, she feels the disconnect. Daily life is full of chances to refine these signals. When you're in conversation, slow down your breathing, soften your gaze, let your shoulders drop. When you're listening, lean slightly forward, nod subtly, let her know she has your undivided attention without having to announce it. When she shares something personal, lower your voice slightly, pause before you respond. These are micro behaviors that speak volumes about your emotional intelligence. Think of the power of a calm presence in chaos. A child falls and looks to a parent. The parent's face decides whether the child cries harder or calms down. Women do the same subconsciously in relationships. They scan your micro behaviors to see if you're stable, to know whether they can trust you with their emotions. Every day, you're communicating through thousands of small cues. How you stand, how you look at someone when they speak, how quickly you check your phone. Each micro behavior is a brushstroke painting the bigger picture of who you are. It's not about faking these signals, it's about becoming aware of them and aligning them with your inner steadiness. When your micro behaviors line up with calm confidence and genuine care, she doesn't just hear your words, she feels your truth. Imagine meeting someone new and within minutes they've told you their entire life story, every thought, every plan, every secret. At first it might seem honest, but soon it feels flat. There's nothing left to discover, no space for your mind to wander, no curiosity pulling you forward. Now imagine someone else who reveals themselves layer by layer, not as a game, but as a natural rhythm. They share enough to intrigue you but leave space for imagination. That's the power of mystery. Mystery isn't about hiding or lying, it's about keeping a sense of depth that makes someone leaning closer. Think about the best movies or books you've ever experienced. They don't tell you the ending in the first 5 minutes, they build tension, curiosity, a hunger to know more. Attraction works the same way. When a woman feels like there's more to you than what's on the surface, she feels drawn to explore it. It's not about playing cold or being distant, it's about revealing yourself gradually so the connection grows naturally. Daily life gives perfect examples. A man at work never boasts about his achievements but carries himself with quiet confidence. He listens more than he speaks. When he does talk, his words land with weight. People are curious about him, they ask questions, they want to know his story. Another man constantly overshares, seeking validation and attention, and people quickly lose interest. Mystery isn't about manipulation, it's about self-respect and pacing your self-disclosure. Imagine sitting across from a woman at dinner. She's telling you about her favorite travel memories, and instead of jumping into one, up her, or spill everything about your life, you smile, ask thoughtful questions, share a small story, and hint at a bigger one for later. You create a rhythm of give and take, a dance of curiosity. She leaves the table thinking about you, wondering what else she'll discover next time. Mystery also shows up in your energy, your body language, your calm pauses, the way you're comfortable with silence instead of filling it with nervous chatter. It's the confidence to be yourself without needing to broadcast everything. Women pick up on that energy instantly. It signals depth, emotional stability, and self-control. Think about your favorite artist, mentor, or leader. Part of their magnetism is that they have layers of wisdom, stories you haven't heard yet. That's what keeps you inspired. When you live a life of growth, hobbies, passions, friends, and experiences beyond the relationship, you naturally create mystery. You become a man she can keep discovering, not a puzzle solved in one sitting. This sense of depth makes every interaction more vivid, every conversation more charged, and every glance hold a quiet power that words can't explain. Imagine you're sitting across from someone and you're pouring out a story that's hard to tell. You're expecting judgment, advice, or someone cutting you off mid-sentence. But instead they lean in, their eyes soft, their voice calm. They don't rush you, they don't try to fix you. They just hold the space and listen. In that moment, something powerful happens inside you. Your walls come down. That's the force of empathy. empathy isn't weakness or passivity. It's a quiet strength that melts defenses faster than any clever words ever could. Think about the people you turn to when you're hurting. They're not the ones who lecture or compete with your pain. They're the ones who make you feel safe enough to show your scars. Women feel the same way. When a woman senses that you actually feel her emotions, even for a split second, she moves closer. She doesn't feel judged, she feels understood. It's the difference between someone nodding politely and someone who's emotionally present with you in the moment. There's a man who grew up thinking strength meant never showing feelings. He would shut down every time someone opened up. But one day he tried something different. He listened to a friend without interrupting, reflected back what he heard, and allowed himself to feel the sadness in her story. To his surprise, she opened up more, not less. Empathy didn't make him weak, it made him magnetic. Women especially read these cues as signs of maturity and emotional safety. Picture a woman coming home after a long day. She's frustrated, venting about a situation at work. Instead of cutting her off or telling her what to do, he looks at her and says, "That sounds really tough. I can see why you'd feel that way." Just a sentence like that shifts the energy in the room. Her shoulders drop, her voice softens. She feels heard. Empathy is like water to a thirsty plant. It nourishes what's already there. Daily life gives you endless chances to practice. When she's quiet, ask gently if something's wrong. When she's excited, match her energy and celebrate with her. When she's sad, don't rush to fix it, let her know you're there. Even at work, even with friends, empathy makes you unforgettable because people feel safe around you. True empathy isn't about agreeing with everything or losing yourself. It's about putting your own ego aside for a moment and entering someone else's world. It's looking at her eyes, noticing her tone, and giving her the gift of being fully present. When you build this habit, you become the rare person in a noisy, distracted world who truly listens, and that alone can change the way people experience you forever. Imagine you're in a group of friends and no one can decide where to eat. Everyone is looking at each other, scrolling on their phones, waiting for someone to take charge. Then one person calmly says, "Let's try that new place around the corner. It's got great reviews." Suddenly everyone relaxes, smiles, and starts walking. That's leadership without domination. It's not barking orders or flexing power. It's reading the room, sensing hesitation and guiding with clarity. Women feel this deeply. They're not looking for a man to control them. They're looking for someone who can lead with steadiness, make decisions, and still respect her autonomy. Think about the difference between a boss and a leader. A boss demands, a leader inspires, a boss controls, a leader guides. The same difference applies in relationships. Leadership without domination is choosing the restaurant, but asking for her input. It's planning a date, but still leaving space for her ideas. It's knowing your own direction in life, so you're not clinging to her for purpose. Picture a man who says, "Friday night, I've booked a table at this new place I think you'll love. But if you're craving something else, tell me." This small dialogue is powerful. It shows initiative and respect at the same time. Compare that to the man who says, "I don't know, what do you want to do?" every single time. One energy feels grounding, the other feels draining. Leadership without domination is the first energy. Daily life is full of examples. On a road trip, he drives but lets her choose the playlist. In a work project, he offers a plan but asks the team for feedback. In a crisis, he stays calm, gathers information, and moves forward rather than panicking. All of these moments communicate to a woman's subconscious that he's steady, capable, and emotionally secure. Women are drawn to men who lead themselves first. That means taking care of your own health, setting your own goals, and keeping your own promises. When you're self-led, you automatically become attractive because you radiate direction and stability. She doesn't feel like she has to mother you or constantly check if you're okay. Instead, she feels like she can relax into her feminine energy while you hold the container of direction and safety. Leadership without domination is a dance. Sometimes you step forward, sometimes you step back. It's a confidence that doesn't need to shout, an energy that makes space for her dreams while you walk your own path. When you practice it, you'll notice women responding differently, leaning in, trusting more, opening up, because they feel both guided and free at the same time. Imagine a woman walking into a room full of people. She spent time getting ready, but no one notices. She smiles, but no one responds. She speaks, but no one listens. How does she feel after a while? Invisible, unheard, undervalued. Now imagine she walks into the same room and someone genuinely says, "You look great today," or "I love how you explain that idea," or "You always bring such good energy here." Her whole posture changes. Her eyes light up. Her shoulders relax. Her confidence rises. This is the power of affirmation. It's not flattery, it's recognition. It's telling someone, "I see you and you matter." Think about yourself. How do you feel when someone notices your effort, compliments your progress, or tells you you're appreciated? It energizes you. It pushes you to do more, to give more, to become more. Women feel the same way. Affirmation fuels connection because it builds a bridge between how she sees herself and how you see her. It tells her that the time, care, and energy she puts into life aren't going unseen. There's a man who never bought extravagant gifts, but he remembered to affirm the small victories. When she passed an exam, he celebrated. When she wore a new outfit, he noticed. When she tried something creative, he encouraged her. Over time, she started associating him with a sense of being uplifted and seen. Compare that to the man who never says anything positive, only criticizes or stays silent. She feels drained, unsure of herself, hesitant to open up. Affirmation is everywhere in daily life if you train yourself to see it. When she shares an idea at work, acknowledge it. When she changes her hairstyle, notice it. When she's nervous about a presentation, remind her of her strengths. These little comments cost nothing, but can be life-changing. They act like tiny sparks that keep the emotional connection glowing. It's important to understand affirmation isn't just about appearance. It's also about character, effort, and growth. Telling her, "I admire how dedicated you are," or "I love how you handled that challenge," reaches deeper than "you look nice today." It shows you're paying attention to who she is, not just what she looks like. Picture a moment when she's doubting herself, second guessing her abilities. Instead of lecturing her, you say, "I've seen how strong you are, and I believe in you." That sentence alone can change her inner dialogue. It's motivational, it's mind-blowing, because so few people do it consistently. Affirmation is a skill, a practice of seeing the good and speaking it out loud. When you do this, you create an emotional environment where she feels supported, respected, inspired, and excited to grow alongside you. Imagine two people who only ever text each other. Their words float back and forth on screens, but there's no shared smell of coffee, no sound of laughter echoing in the same room, no memories of standing under the same sky. Now imagine those same two people deciding to go on a hike together, cooking dinner side by side, getting lost in a new city, dancing in the kitchen, even just sitting quietly in a park watching people pass by. That's when connection stops being abstract and starts becoming real. Shared experiences are the glue that binds two lives together. They turn moments into memories and memories into emotional anchors. Think about your own life. The stories you tell with passion are almost always about something you did, not something you texted. Remember when we went there? Remember how we got caught in the rain? Remember how we laughed until our stomachs hurt? Women feel this deeply. It's not just what you say to her, it's what you do with her. Every shared adventure becomes a thread weaving you closer. Every small ritual builds a private world between you. Picture a man who never plans anything, always leaves everything to chance, spends most of his time in front of screens. His relationship starts to feel flat, like a conversation that never ends but never moves forward. Now picture a man who takes initiative. He says, "Saturday, let's visit that new art exhibit. Let's cook a recipe we've never tried. Let's drive somewhere we've never been just to watch the sunset." These are simple acts, but they become powerful because they break the routine and create a rhythm of discovery. Shared experiences also reveal character. When you travel together, you see how someone handles stress. When you volunteer together, you see their values. When you work on a project together, you see their dedication. These moments are windows into the deeper self that no amount of talk can replace. Women pick up on this because they're wired to connect through shared meaning and memories. This doesn't always have to be big or expensive. It can be as small as making coffee together every morning, having a weekly walk, learning a skill side by side, or even watching a series together and discussing it. The point is the togetherness, the time invested, the mutual creation of something that belongs to both of you. Imagine her after a long week, tired and disconnected, and you say, let's go for a late night drive and play our favorite songs. Suddenly her energy shifts. She's not just spending time, she's living a story. These stories become the soundtrack of your relationship, the moments she replays in her mind when she thinks of you. Every shared experience is a seed planted in the soil of your connection, growing roots that hold you both steady when life gets chaotic. Imagine planting a seed and expecting a tree the next morning. No matter how much water you pour or how much you stare at it, the seed needs time, sunlight, and patience to grow. Human connection is exactly like that. Timing is everything. Push too hard too fast and you crush the roots before they've formed. Go too slow without energy and the seed dries out. Knowing when to move forward and when to hold back is an art that separates frustration from magic. Think about the first time you met someone who later became important in your life. At the beginning there were pauses, curiosity, a rhythm of getting to know each other. Imagine if you had tried to rush it all into one day. The mystery would vanish, the trust wouldn't have time to build, and the excitement would die. Timing gives space for anticipation, for imagination, for trust to grow naturally. Picture a man who meets a woman and within a week he's pressuring her for big commitments, constant texts, intense declarations. At first she might be flattered, but soon she feels smothered. Now picture another man who is present but not overwhelming. He checks in, he listens, he notices her pace, he lets things breathe. She begins to relax, to lean in, to want more on her own. This is the difference timing makes. Daily life offers proof everywhere. When you cook a meal, you don't blast the heat to maximum, you let it simmer. When you train in the gym, you don't do a year's work in one session. You show up consistently and improve steadily. Relationships follow the same laws. Women sense desperation or pressure the way plants sense frost. They also sense patience, steadiness, and self-control the way plants sense sunlight. Timing isn't about manipulation. It's about respect. Respect for her pace, her comfort, her readiness. It's about reading her energy, noticing if she's leaning in or pulling back, and adjusting accordingly. It's knowing that trust, intimacy, and desire build like layers of paint on a canvas, one brushstroke at a time. Imagine her coming back from a stressful day. Instead of bombarding her with demands for attention, you give her space, a gentle smile, maybe a cup of tea, and wait until she's ready to talk. Or imagine you've just started dating. Instead of texting her every hour, you let her reach out sometimes. You let mystery and curiosity work in your favor. These small choices tell her subconsciously that you're grounded, confident, and emotionally intelligent. Timing also applies to your own growth. The more you focus on your own life, your health, your goals, the less you feel the urge to rush. You become the person who understands that everything meaningful takes time. In that energy, women feel safe, not pushed. They sense that you're not trying to force an outcome. You're creating a space where connection can unfold naturally. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing at a crossroads where every choice you make can either build connection or destroy it. You've just walked through the secrets. You've seen how emotions, attention, security, micro behaviors, mystery, empathy, leadership, affirmation, shared experiences, and timing create a map to deeper understanding. Now feel this truth knowledge without action changes nothing. It's what you do after this that will separate you from the man who only listens and the man who transforms. There's a saying whispered in every corner of great leadership and love alike: people will forget what you said. They will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Let that line echo in your mind every time you interact with a woman, a friend, a colleague, anyone you care about. Because at the end of the day, all the strategies and tips mean nothing if you're not cultivating presence, empathy, and courage. Think about the most inspiring people you've ever met. They weren't always the loudest, the richest, or the flashiest. They were the ones who carried an inner steadiness, who made you feel bigger just by being around them. They're proof that the smallest actions performed with sincerity have the greatest power. They're living examples of the line: success isn't owned, it's rented, and the rent is due every day. Relationships work the same way. Trust isn't owned, it's rented, and the rent is paid with consistency, respect, and small daily acts of care. Imagine someone listening to you with their full attention, affirming your strengths, sharing adventures with you, creating security without control, respecting your timing, embracing your mystery. How would you feel about them? Now imagine being that person for someone else. When you step into that energy, you stop chasing validation and start creating gravity. Instead of trying to impress, you become impressive. Instead of chasing, you attract. As you leave this space, take with you the idea that greatness in relationships isn't built in a moment, but in a series of moments. It's built in how you respond when she's upset, how you listen when she's excited, how you lead when she's unsure, how you hold space when she's vulnerable. It's built in your ability to balance strength and softness, action and patience, mystery and openness. There's an old line that says, discipline equals freedom. In relationships, emotional discipline equals freedom. It frees you from neediness, frees her from pressure, frees the connection to grow naturally. Another line says, the best way to predict the future is to create it. With every choice, every word, every gesture, you're creating the future of your relationships. Remember also the quiet power of timing. One of the most powerful sentences you can say to yourself is, not yet. Not yet is the wisdom to wait for trust to form, for hearts to open, for experiences to layer into memories. Patience is not weakness. Patience is strength under control. You've been handed a set of tools today, but tools only matter when they're used. Let this be the moment you decide to become the man who understands rather than assumes, who leads rather than controls, who listens rather than reacts, who affirms rather than criticizes, who creates experiences rather than collects numbers. The world is full of noise, but a man with presence. Empathy and self-mastery is like a calm lighthouse cutting through the storm. People will be drawn to that light. Women will be drawn to that light. You will become the kind of man who doesn't just navigate relationships, but elevates them. Who doesn't just seek connection, but creates it at a level so deep it becomes unforgettable. Let these lines echo inside you. A river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say. Be the energy you want to attract. These aren't just quotes, they're instructions. Live them, embody them, breathe them, feel the weight of these truths in your chest. Imagine the life, the love, the respect, the admiration that waits on the other side of applying them. Today is not the end of a speech, it's the start of a revolution inside you. A revolution of patience, presence, empathy, strength and action. When you walk out of here, don't walk out as the same man who walked in. Walk out with fire in your heart, clarity in your eyes and a steady power in your steps, ready to build connections so real and so meaningful that they outlast the moment and echo long into the future.